So, hi, it's Camille, and welcome to the Sisterhood of Sensuality. This is interview number 3, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Jennifer. And we actually connected through this beautiful book called Breast Easy, and she is a co-author. And your chapter is chapter 10, which is titled I Love My Breasts. And what a fun chapter to read, because I just totally could connect, right? How many of us girls, when we're younger, we're just waiting to get breasts, right? Like we want them to show up, and we want to have see the superpower that they have, right? Because they bring so much attention to us. And so I just loved reading your chapter, and I just felt super connected to what you had experienced, what you had gone through, and in that space of being a teen and just really wanting to have more of a feminine, curvy, vivacious type of figure. So could you share a little bit about that first part of your journey when you were just awakening to that feminine essence of who you were and the desire that you had to have breasts, and then how kind of you got to a space later that you just have found that loving piece of your breasts are your breasts, right? And how they show up as beautiful in any way they look. And so could you kind of share that with us?
Yeah, thank you. Wow, really, I hear it. I was really aware of sensuality and sexuality at a very young age, and just aware of the dynamics between men and women, and having that awareness at such a young age gave me a desire to be a part of my own sexuality and my own sexual expression. And it was really interesting to be a very tall and very thin female without breasts in a family dynamic that had more of a curvy type physique. And it was really challenging to have those awarenesses and those desires as a child. I fought against it quite a bit, and I had a lot of judgments about myself and about what that meant for me as a woman too. So during those travels of my experiences and the things that I've asked for in my life, I've gotten to experience life as a woman with all different shapes and sizes. So that's been really interesting.
Yes, I muted myself because it was maybe if I mute myself, then I will be able to not always have the video flip back and forth. Your voice wasn't loud enough, so it didn't flip, it seemed like, and so I figured out how to actually pin the video. But yes, I just think everything that you said there was so beautiful, and we do in a society we live in a space of curvy, vivacious type of more full figure type of women. They're becoming more of a beautiful thing in our society, right? We're not so focused on just the thinness and I gotta look this way. I mean, there still is a focus there, but there's a huge movement in body love and just allowing ourselves to love every aspect of who we are, even if we don't fit into this little teeny box that has been created for what we think the perfect woman should look like, right? So
yeah, it's so interesting how I'm a 70s baby. I grew up with Lonnie Anderson and then Pamela Anderson, and just, there's curves. We had Marilyn Monroe, who
yeah.
she was a size 13. She was not super skinny like the 90s and the 2000s the demand has brought, and it's been an interesting, to go through those decades and see that demand change through time. And it is starting to come around a little bit. And I'm not sure if it's so much society has changed its viewpoint as it is women have demanded something else. Women are saying, I don't care what society says. I'm more invested in how I feel about me. And I think that's been the evolution of the movement more so than society's request for changing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. Women stepping into the power of like, oh, I get to love myself no matter how I look. And the more I love myself too, it's like the more empowered I feel. And also, I found like with me, when it comes to releasing weight, like the more I love myself, it's almost like the more my body gets to the place where I really want it to be. And not because I hold myself to a beauty standard, but I want to feel good in my body, you know? And as I love her and as I connect with her, I'm like, instead of like, put that cookie down, bitch, you know, like that kind of like dialogue, which I used to have, like just being so mean to myself. It's like, oh, how could I be more loving and like, oh, yes, I can have a cookie and enjoy it and then move on. And I don't have to have this dialogue of punishment and torture and being at war with who I am as a woman. Like, how can I empower myself and love myself in all of who I am, even if there are some things that, you know, I really would like to change about my body or this or that, like, but I can still love myself through that process. And when I do that, it seems like my body shifts way easier than when I'm at war with her.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. And isn't it so cool? And I really want to speak to this too. And this was my motivation for my chapter is how much of how we feel about our bodies, how much of that secret dialogue that you spoke to, how much of that has really been like our dirty little scary secret that we've been holding on to that, you know, I know for the ladies in the book, every one of us who have released ourselves from that imprisonment, like all of our lives seem to be really expanding and growing and being more fulfilled. And it's like such a nice invitation for everyone else to like just stop having it be a secret. As soon as you give words to it, give acknowledgement to it, you can change it and you can choose something else. And you know, we're inviting people to that, and I think that's just such a beautiful gift that we gave ourselves and now we get to share with everyone else.
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. And so my next question for you is, of course, in your chapter, you talk about experiencing something that probably a lot of women don't experience, and that is having a third nipple. And as I read that, I just really like could connect to feeling like I've attached something to myself before of like, if I just didn't have this, then I would feel amazing, you know? And so I thought as you shared that story of like experiencing that in your life and then just feeling like if that wasn't part of you, that you would just be made whole and everything would be perfect and beautiful. And if you could kind of share a little bit about that journey as a woman experiencing something like that, and then kind of what process you went through, and if you did get to a space of like actually being able to love all parts of yourself, even with something that probably you felt very disconnected from a lot of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting. I want to point out for all the ladies out there that 20 or 30%, I don't remember the exact statistics, of women do have a third nipple. So it's not as small as you think.
Wow.
And you know, it's really funny because it's not like the third nipples typically have mammary glands. They're not, I mean, they almost look like a mole. You know?
Oh, okay.
And it's really interesting because had I probably have not acknowledged what it was, no one else may even have known what it is. It's like you said, I made it so larger than life. I made it the focus of what was wrong with me, and that if I could fix it, if I could fix this exterior part of myself, that's how I could feel good and loving towards myself. And so the journey for me was when I went through this process, and I did actually have it surgically removed. And then I realized that it made no difference. I still felt the same way. There was no change in my inner feelings. Even though I felt more confident on the outside, it was very shallow. It wasn't this big aha that I thought it was going to be. And it, you know, pivoted me into a journey of really learning self-love and you know, there wasn't a lot of that in my family. I mean, there's nice people in my family, but nobody knew how to love themselves.
Mm.
They sacrifice. And it took me a while. I'm not gonna say it was overnight for me. I had a lot of deep seated points of views, but I also had a lot of drive and determination that I was gonna find, you know, the information. I knew it was out there. So, you know, I spent about 15 years doing it, and I hope that no one else has to take as long as I did.
Yeah, it's all a journey.
True, true, true.
Mm.
And it's been beautiful. You know, I wouldn't change anything, and I wouldn't change any of it. And I'm so grateful for really realizing what it takes to love yourself. Has really, your body is a part of you. It really has nothing to do with the exterior. It doesn't matter what you look like, you know, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you feel about your being. And your being will always contribute to your body, and your body will always contribute to your being if you're willing to just embrace what shows up. And gosh, every day is a journey. Every day,
Yeah.
you know, like I said before, just having this book come out has just increased my receptivity and my awareness of all of these things. And it's just a whole new level that's showing up for me too. So I feel like I'm learning right along with our readers. It's really cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And it is amazing, like just how we grow and expand. And and as the book has been released too, like I've really felt a lot of very amazing, intense energy. And at first, I really attached more of an anxiety feeling around it, but I think it's more intensity around just this beautiful, just part of my, like I've always kind of hid myself, you know, and now it's like, wow, I'm kind of more out in the open public eye. And I love doing videos, and I'm very like public in Facebook, but there's this small part of me that's always likes to be hidden. And this book has really assisted me in like awakening to like, wow, why do I like to hide, and what is that piece of me that I am hiding? And so it's so beautiful how things can really happen for us to awaken to the more truth of who we really are as powerful women.
Yeah. And how much of that was even yours, Cameo? How much of this hiding part was even yours?
Yeah.
It's probably even yours.
Yeah. Well, and part of it really is, you know, I mean, I just kind of experienced my first few years of life in a very, my father was an abusive alcoholic. And so to hide was to be safe, right? Like if you were quiet and you were hidden, then you weren't getting in trouble and you weren't causing problems. And some of that has been like brought to my adulthood space, you know, of like, I'll be really loud and seen and beautiful. And then it's like, oh, maybe I should just stay hidden. So, but it's been beautiful aspect of like, oh, how can I take this and use it as something beautiful to be more seen and to maybe help women who have that same thing, right? That they want to hide, but really they have the desire to be seen in all their feminine beauty. So that's served me as well. Yeah. So my next question is, if you were in a group of women and say 5 to 10 women, they're looking at you and you could just share one thing to help them feel more connected, to feel more understood, to feel like they're not alone, what would that one piece be that you would share with them?
Oh, one piece, huh?
I know one's hard, but
Um, wow. Well, that's a hard question because I have so many things coming up. But I guess if I grabbed one of them, I would say to really start talking to yourself the way you would want to be talked to from other people. Everything that anyone else that you've desired from other people, you know, the love, the kind words, the gifts, however, there's 5 love languages. We've all been taught that.
Yeah.
Yours are, whatever your love language is, treat yourself with those actions, those words, those gifts, or whatever it is for you. I can't remember what all 5 are right now, but you could look.
Yeah.
But whatever they are for you, that's, invest in yourself in those ways, because when you start doing it for you, other people will too. So that is the doorway to self-love. Treat yourself the way you want other people to treat you, and you're opening the door for them to do that, because no one can treat you the way you desire if you're not. It's just not possible. And even if they show up in some shallow form, you're not going to receive it the way that you think you are right now. So the action of self-love is the first step.
Oh, yes, that's amazing. I love that. I love the 5 love languages. When I first was finding out mine, I thought for sure it was words of affirmation, just because that's what I thought it was. But as I've done a lot more digging, like mine is physical touch. And so when you were saying that, I just thought, oh, for some people that their love language is physical touch, they might think, well, what, am I supposed to touch my own body? And I would say yes. Like, yes, you're supposed to. Like, I've just been noticing this with my breasts per se. Like, okay, we're really fear-based around the breasts, right? Like, we touch them to check for lumps or to check for anything changing. But how often do we touch them because we love them and they're beautiful and they're amazing? And it's been such just an awakening aspect of who I am as a woman, of like when I put coconut oil on my arms, and like now I put coconut oil on my breast, and I do it because I love them and they're beautiful and they're part of who I am as a woman. And or touching my belly, or touching your legs. Like, you can show yourself self-touch too, even if touch is your love language, because I just think that might trigger some people. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to touch myself. But we're not talking about masturbation here. We're talking about actually like touching your body, right?
Yeah, but also touching your vagina, because nothing on your body from head to toe should be off limits to you, because you are the person you can trust the most. So start building that trust building with yourself.
Yeah.
Anything is triggered when you were just bringing that up, Cameo, any of your listeners, any of that did trigger what you just spoke to, this is the time to start trust building yourself. If it was a red flag for you.
Oh, yeah.
That this is time to say, oh, that did trigger something in me. I do need to start trusting me, because if you're not, then how can you trust another person? You have to have the self-awareness first. So let's just invite anyone who did have, a hot button show up in their universe, that it is okay to touch yourself. It is okay to show yourself love. It is okay if it is a sexual. It is okay if it's sensual. It is okay if it's just nurturing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So beautiful. So beautiful. I love that. I love creating that connection to our breast, and to I love the word pussy. It used to really activate me, but now it brings a lot of power and a lot of connection to who I am as a woman. And so I love to, stand in the mirror and look at her and notice her and see the beauty that she has to offer. And I've even used a handheld mirror to kind of see more of who she is, because as women, we don't really spend a lot of time connecting to that aspect of who we are as women. And so I do believe it's so beautiful what you just shared, to connect and to love and to nurture and to be in our sensual energy or to be in our sexual energy. All of that's amazing and so beautiful. And so thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show. And if people are feeling drawn to connecting to you, how would they go about doing that?
Well, my go-to website that I do a lot of hands-on processes, and I have an online presence as well, where I do coaching and I do classes a lot. Okay. Find me on Facebook under Jennifer Lamkins, or my website's probably another great way, and that would be at transcendenceMindBodySpirit.com.
Okay, so I'll put both those links on the below the video, so they can just click on a link and it will take them to where you are located at. And so I think it's amazing. And if anybody is feeling drawn to get this Breast Easy book, I will post that link below too. It is an amazing book. I feel like every woman should read it, and every girl, every daughter, every mother, every sister. It's just such a beautiful thing because there's so much energy around the breast, and how can we really shift that into being more of a beautiful, connected energy instead of a negative push away type of energy. So thank you so much for being here, and we will go ahead and stop the recording.